In August of this past August, I received a telephone call inviting me to come and preach here at North Lanier on a Sunday, I believe around the 12th of August or something like that. And in the process of time, was asked to come and be the transition pastor. Now that's a different thing. Actually, I was asked if I would come be interim, and I shared with the elders and with the pastor search team that this church would have a serious problem if they called an interim pastor, that is somebody who just came and preached on Sunday and had nothing else to do or be involved in any way with the church. And so I explained to them the transition program, our ministry, which I've been involved with now since early 2000, in going to churches and working with churches who have problems, difficulties. And anytime a church is without a pastor, they really are a dysfunctional unit, because every church has to have a head or a lead. And in order to be that body, it has to be a pastor. So the church called me to be transition pastor, and I believe September the 16th or 18th, somewhere in there, I preached a message on what my role as a transition pastor would be, even to give specifics regarding the job description and what I would do as far as trying to recreate and remake a church culture, or try to lead you to do that. And so one of those things was to appoint a strategic planning team with specific responsibilities that we've been working on and will be working on. At this point, we only through the first phase of that, and in a moment you'll receive that information. But Josh Allen is going to present to you now the initial findings done through the surveys that were made by the church, the initial findings of our church, and how we got to where we are. And then we'll talk about some other things in a few minutes. So Josh Allen, thank you.
You got me, Steve? All right, there we go. Is this close enough? Howdy. So like Pastor said a couple of weeks ago, we did collect all the survey results, collated them, reviewed them. And that's what I'm going to share with you guys this morning. A couple of points I want to make as we get started here. One is, when we approach this, we wanted to approach it looking forward, thinking about the future. That is, we wanted to come into this process thinking about how we can make this replicable and scalable. This is not something I think needs to happen once in the life of a church. It's probably something that needs to happen regularly. So what I wanted to step through first is kind of the methodology and the governing principles that we followed when we went about this exercise. So a couple of goals, as you see here, is we wanted to encourage everybody to share their thoughts. We want to get a demographic snapshot of the church, who we are, what do we look like, what do our members look like, what does a typical attendee look like. And the last point is probably the most important. We wanted to encourage conversation. We wanted to encourage debate, and yes, even criticism. That's the best way to figure things out and figure out who we are and who we want to be, is by talking. So hopefully what I'm going to show you this morning, and I'm sorry, I was supposed to, before I got started, ask about a handout, right? Didn't we have a handout this morning? So I apologize. We'll go and get that before I get too far into this. So while they're handing that out, so again, we really just wanted to focus discussion, debate, criticism, and this is one of the first steps in doing that, is sharing with you guys the results. And I spoke with Pastor this morning. We're also going to make this whole presentation I've got here, we're going to make this available to the members. I don't know how we'll do that yet. I'll talk to Karen. Surprise, Karen. We'll figure that out. There you are back there. We'll figure it out, yeah. So you guys will have access to all these slides and all the data I'm sharing here. Let me back up. So the guiding principles, we wanted to ensure that everybody had access to this. And I called that out first because not everybody could get online and submit a survey. So we made sure that we had paper surveys available to everybody. And we made sure we had those available regularly for several weeks in a row. We wanted to make sure everybody had an opportunity to answer and submit their responses. But at the same time, we wanted to encourage online entry. So the fact of the matter is, when we're collecting this much data, it's not really possible for us to go through it manually, to go through all the paperwork and read responses and make sense of it. We have to have some way to analyze that data. And so it all has to go in spreadsheets or go on different tools that we use. And if we can get people to enter online, it makes it easier for us to copy that data and put them into whatever tools we want to use. It also ensures that we protect the integrity of the data. Anytime that I've got to, and I say my wife did all the heavy lifting. Thank you, sweetie. Anytime that we had a paper response and it had to be entered, that's just manual entry. We're copying, we're typing, and there's opportunity for error. Obviously, not so much on her part. I would have gotten it all wrong. She did a fantastic job, though. So, so we want to encourage that online entry so we can preserve the integrity of the data. Privacy. I think I spoke on this before. We absolutely made sure that you had the opportunity to be completely anonymous. There's no tracking, not even IP addresses, nothing. All of that was completely disabled. Once the survey was over, I turned it off and I deleted everything online. So there's nothing out there. So we absolutely want to make sure that privacy was what is one of the guiding principles. Freedom to respond, to say what you wanted. And I think a lot of that is built on the ability to be anonymous and to have private entry. When you have that, you can be free to say what you want and speak your heart. And then finally, anonymity. It's a hard word when you're up here in front of everybody. Anonymity. Again, we want to make sure you're anonymous and you have the opportunity not to say who you are and share your heart. There are 3 areas of the survey: demographics, satisfaction, and opinion open hours. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, guys, because frankly, if you did the survey, you're familiar. You're probably really familiar with the section. So I'm just going to go through these pretty quickly. The demographic questions are what you would expect, everything from gender to race to income to church attendance. The satisfaction matrix, we had all the different aspects of the church listed here and just asked you to submit how satisfied you were with it. And then finally, the open answer opinion. I know you can't read those. I can't really read those from right here. But you get the gist. A lot of opinion questions that were open answer allowed you to really share your heart and your mind. The results, we had over 70 respondents. And I think I said this before. The open answer section was over 62 pages long of answers. And there's over 10 per page, so almost 700 of the open answer responses that we're still going through. Several well thought out answers. A lot of you guys shared novels. There were paragraphs from some of you, and all of us really appreciate that. You guys care. The fact that we had so many people. I'll be honest. When we give out surveys like this, I would expect a respondent rate of 10 to 20%. I expected to get 15 to 20 responses back. The fact that we got 70 means you guys care. You had something to say, and that we really appreciate that. And then, the results are the demographics, and I don't think this is new. I don't think it would surprise you if I said the demographics of our church don't match the community around us. I don't think anybody would be surprised by that. The numbers prove that out. All right, so I'm going to go through these pretty quickly, just the demographic results. Everything from gender, marital status, housing status, employment status. Majority of the respondents are married. They own their house. I believe they're primarily female, but yeah, primarily female. So a lot of the ladies submitted that or submitted on behalf of their husbands, perhaps. And let me back up. So when I say non-comparative demographics, what I'm talking about here is this is just a snapshot of who we are. It's not comparing it to us to anybody else at this point. So again, non-comparative demographics. Over 70% of our congregation lives more than 5 miles away. What that tells me is the church needs to do one of 2 things. We need to reach out to the community, or we need to move. Why are y'all driving so far to get to church? Just move the church if that's what you want. So that was a joke. I'm sorry. That was probably a little harsh. It came across a little harsh, sorry. I'll try to drop the sarcasm. And now this, guys, this is the one that really keeps me awake at night, and really, it just breaks my heart. Because I'm part of this. Look, my wife and I, we've been going here for almost 3 years. We love the church. We're part of this family. I'm not on the outside looking in. We're part of this solution and the problem. But this breaks my heart. Over 50% of the congregation has been here 10 years. 95% of the congregation has been a Christian for over 10 years. I don't think I need to say anything else. I'll just let that. Getting into age here, 56% of the congregation was born before 1961, compared to the community, 22%. So we're older. I don't think I'd surprise anybody there. Getting into the comparative data here, 86% of our congregation is white, 14% is Hispanic Latino. I know you can't see it. In the 3-mile radius, is 73% is white, 15% is Hispanic, and 7% Asian, 4% Black, and 2% other. Close, and I'm not really here to give much color to the stuff like this. Just take it for what it is. This is income. Our income lines up pretty closely with the community. It's slightly under. So the 3 mile radius, 43% of the population, $100,000 or more, whereas our congregation, 35% is $100,000 or more. So close. And then education, we're smart. Y'all are really smart. That's really all I can say there. The blue line is North Lanier. The red line is the 3 mile radius, and the yellow line is Georgia. And it starts with middle school education going all the way to postgraduate. Majority of our congregation college either has college or postgraduate education. And I know you guys can't see this. That's why we're going to make it available to you so you can download it and look at it. But this is a satisfaction matrix. I'm just going to keep it really high level. The highest areas of satisfaction are around our Sunday morning worship, Sunday school, and music ministry. Now, let me pause there for a second about the music ministry. It did get rated fairly highly for satisfaction, but there's a split. There's very dissatisfied there as well. So we have a dichotomy, if you will. We have a hard split there, and you'll see that when you look at the data, that some people either love it or hate it. Areas of the highest dissatisfaction are going to be around the youth, student, and children's ministry. Again, I don't think there's a whole lot of surprises there. All right, and again, can't read it. I'm just going to go through a couple highlights here. These are the open answers. So what do you believe our church needs to improve? I like the first one at the top, the one a lot. That's a lot. Yeah, we probably do. And I kind of get the sense of that comment. It's heavy. There's a lot behind that, a lot. We need to do better. I'm going to read this one in the middle to you because I think it stands out. We're going to need to reach out. So just full disclosure, I copied this over, typos and all, because I know y'all are really smart, and I know the only reason you have typos in there is to see if I was going to change them and fix it. I didn't. Nice try. So we're going to need to reach out to the younger families community, which means that our leadership will need to get younger as we move through the transition. We need to improve ties to the Hispanic congregation and possibly to the Indian one as well. We need to get a handle on the use and overuse of our facilities by groups who really do not support our church. Pastor Carl has an excellent understanding of all these issues, and he's done a tremendous job of helping us to move forward on them. Great, well thought out response. We have a lot, if you look at above that communication and transparency, guys, I could have filled out a dozen decks on just the comments that say we need to be more transparent, we need to communicate. We got it, 100%. Everybody was unanimous about that. We need to be more transparent and communicate better. Do you feel you're a vital part of the NLB, of North Lanier Baptist Church family? And there's another one that keeps me awake and it just moves me to tears sometimes. No, I could leave tomorrow and no one other than my Sunday school class would even notice. Yeah. Sometimes I feel a vital part. No, I'm just a cog in the machine, maybe is what they're implying, but yeah. So in the next few slides, I summarize a couple different questions. Basically, the church appeal to visitors and community. These are the questions like that ask, would you feel comfortable inviting somebody to church? Would visitors feel welcome? Those type of questions, and I just kind of summarize right here. The one on the top left gets me. More ethnic diversity would help folks of color feel more welcome. Also, I believe that we must absolutely avoid any political statements. And I'm just going to skip down. Believe it or not, there will be some Democrats in heaven. As Paul stated, I love that. They're right? I mean, absolutely. And then the last one I underlined, we are too traditional for the unreached, unchurched culture. Y'all, this is you guys speaking. This is not me. This is not Pastor Carl. This is not Al. This is y'all. We are too traditional for the unreached, unchurched culture. Yeah, you guys got it. Again, more about the appeal of our church. Too much chaos, confusion, changes. Seems to have been pastor-led the past 10 years. I've never voted on the pastor, music leader's salary, never had candidates presented to vote on for leadership, etc. We need to come together in prayer as a body to repair the hurt that has been here for a while. So I don't mean to gloss over this, guys. There's so much. And again, there's over 600, almost 700 of these responses. So I just want to get to this last slide real quick where we talk about lessons learned. And the third point is really you guys can read the first two, that's fine. Let me call it, so when I say align birthday with generations, what I mean here is aligning birthdays with like millennials, Gen Xers, so that we can get a better idea of what the generational makeup of our congregation is. So next time we do this, we need to look at redefining the tiers that we have for the birth dates. Income tiers, we probably need to expand that. give people an option to self-identify and request. Remember that comment where somebody said a lot? That wasn't a comment, that was a request, right? Somebody wanted to say more. Somebody wanted to have a conversation. And there's a lot of those throughout the survey. And I get that we need to protect identity, we need to be anonymous, we need to have protect everybody's privacy, but I also think as a church, when we do this again, we need to have an opportunity for people to say, yeah, you know what, I want to talk about this. I don't want to just say, I can't put all my thoughts, my feelings in this blank, so I'm just going to put a lot. I can't fit it all in there. We need to give people an opportunity to say more.